are with His Excellency the Indian Ambassador in Madrid today. Ambassador, thank you very much for coming to Elcano this morning. I just wanted to ask you about the state of Spanish-Indian relations. From our discussion this morning, the idea seems to be that this relationship has enormous potential, but as yet somewhat unfulfilled. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, that is true. India and Spain have excellent political relations. There is no single problem in our bilateral relations in the political field. We have a huge commonality in terms of our perceptions on international issues and global challenges. There's a desire to work together with Spain in India to see how Spain can contribute to India's outreach in the EU and Europe as a whole and the Mediterranean. So on the political side, I think the ledger is very positive. On the economic side, there are huge complementarities which provide a lot of potential for further cooperation. We would like Spanish companies to be more present in a greater force in India. There are a number of areas where Spanish companies have world-class capabilities, infrastructure, smart cities, high-speed railways, defense, renewable energy, food processing, tourism. There is huge potential for cooperation. There are some very good success stories already of Spanish companies in India: Indira, Gamesa, Acciona, Gestamp. We believe that ADIF will also enter India in a very major way as we build more suburban metros. So the potential is huge and the opportunities are vast. India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. We have opened up tremendously. 92% of our economy is fully open. The rest of the 8% is subject to government approvals, but we would like Spanish companies to be present, even in sensitive technologies such as defense. We are working on a nuclear cooperation agreement, which we expect to be concluded in the next few months. That will create yet another opportunity for cooperation. So we would very much like Spain to look at India as a partner in Asia, as Spain looks to increasing its international profile, both politically and economically. External trade is now a very important factor for Spanish growth, and to sustain that growth, it is in Spain's own interest to look at markets and partners which will provide a pathway for cooperation in decades to come. And India, of course, is one such partner. This was the central message that was conveyed by Prime Minister Modi to President Rajoy and His Majesty the King when he was here in May this year, and that message was very well received. It was a very successful visit. I think India-Spain relations are poised for turning a new leaf as we look forward to expanding our bilateral cooperation, but also looking at international issues and cooperation within the EU and at the United Nations.
As you reminded us in your talk, Spain regards itself as the third or fourth largest economic player in the EU, and the EU is also India's largest trading partner. Can you tell us a little about the state of the EU-India relations, in particular with regard to the free trade agreement?
Indeed. As we speak today, the 6th of October, the 14th India-EU summit is taking place in Delhi. India has a strategic partnership with the European Union for the last decade. The EU is India's largest trading partner, a major source of technology, a major source of investments, and we see EU as a partner in creating open global international architecture, both in political and strategic terms. EU is vital to creating multipolarity in the world. At the same time, we see EU as looking at India as important for contributing to stability in Asia, growth in Asia, but also in the globe as a whole. The bilateral trade agreement is being negotiated. We feel that there is now a new momentum that will be given by the summit that will conclude today. on giving the negotiators a new brief to get on with the task of concluding early a comprehensive agreement in trade matters, which will take India-EU relations to a new level. That will be of great benefit to Spain as well. Spain is an important player within the EU, an important country within the EU, and we see Spain also as indicative of the new multipolarity within within Europe, as Europe grapples with several challenges within the region and in the surrounding areas, both political, strategic, and economic, including in the fields of counterterrorism, maritime security. And Spain already has played a very major role, and its role will only increase as we go forward. We understand that Spain will be hosting the next meeting of the E4 of countries of France, Germany, Italy, and Spain on the 3rd of November. This is already indicative of the important role that Spain has played and will continue to play in European affairs.
Ambassador, you've always had an academic and a diplomatic interest in disarmament issues, and these are very much on our mind these days. Nuclear proliferation remains one of the major threats to world peace, sadly. Can you tell us a little about your view of the two major hotspots? First of all, Iran and the possibility that the Iran nuclear deal might break down, and secondly, the situation in the Korean Peninsula. How serious is that threat, and how successful is the international community being in dealing with that threat?
Well, the JCPOA with Iran was a major milestone in international diplomacy, proof that diplomatic efforts can address critical international security issues. The agreement is under implementation. Several reports of the International Atomic Energy Agency have demonstrated that Iran continues to be in compliance. That appears to be the view of several European countries as well, who are parties to the JCPOA. There's an ongoing debate in the United States on how this should be taken forward. Whatever the outcome of the debate, India is in favor of maintaining the essence of that agreement, which is acceptable to all sides, and any issues that relate to its implementation should be resolved in the context of a dialogue, and the agreement itself provides for avenues of dialogue to remove any misapprehensions or perceptions that may exist with regard to the implementation of the deal. It is a deal that puts obligations which are clear, and it is for both sides to implement the obligations that have been indicated in the agreement. If we move to the question of DPRK, of course, India shares the concerns of the international community of the rise in tensions, largely on account of the certain actions taken by the DPRK in terms of nuclear and missile tests. We would like DPRK to abide by its own commitments for its denuclearization, as it had committed in the September 2005 statement. We would like easing of tensions on the Korean Peninsula. We would also like international focus on those countries which have been involved with proliferation activities with DPRK, and those countries should also be held accountable for some of the linkages that they have contributed to the current proliferation problem on the Korean Peninsula. India has been a victim of some of the proliferation linkages that have emanated from DPRK, and this is something that we have put forward in front of the international community. Non-proliferation is a priority for India. We would like to work with the international community in full implementation of the relevant Security Council resolutions that impact on DPRK. But I think the long-term objective is denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula through dialogue, and we hope that steps will be taken in that direction.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Ambassador, for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I think it's been a great pleasure to come to the Elcano Institute. It's a great honor. It's the premier institution in Spain, but also a major institution among the European think tanks, and we would very much like to increase the cooperation and engagement between think tanks in India and the Elcano Institute. And thank you for having me today.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.